Come, 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 come. We are about to drink something. We are finishing. Final push, and we are done. That is the only time you can at least relax and take a cup of tea nicely. But anyway, welcome, welcome to this final series of the six-part. This is a six-part series of the home ownership for financial security. We have been doing videos. This is the sixth video, and I welcome you to subscribe, to like, to share, to comment. Let me know how, when you watch these videos, what is it doing for you? Is it triggering some change or some transformation in you? And if you're here for the first time, I want to welcome you. And let me just explain to you what we do here. And even as I welcome you, my name is Lucy Gedaiga. I am a personal financial wellness coach, and I help women, and women especially who are in employment, to sort of organize their money, take charge of their financial future. So when you come onto these videos, I run two things. One, on Fridays like today, I run all things money. We talk about issues around money. We talk about financial freedom, financial security, all things to do with money issues. And on Wednesdays, I run a Bible study. And the Bible study the Bible study lessons that I learn right now, we are going through a series called A Ride Through Genesis. And as we go through the Bible study, I still carry my financial coaching hat with me in the Bible study. So we sort of look at what is the word telling us in terms of to get better in our own lives, but also are there inspirations and nuggets that we can draw from the word of God that speak to our financial life and speak to us in how we can be better stewards of the resources that God has given to us. So that's the purpose of why this channel exists. I love you all, and I want to continue welcoming you again and again. Now, we have been on a series, and today marks the final day, the final Friday of that series. And if you're here for the first time, if you have just landed here for the first time, there are two things I want you to do. Okay, of course, you're free to watch all the videos, including videos where I have given my story. By the way, let me tell you why I do what I do. The reason I do what I do, I was in employment for 24 years. 24, 1, 2, 3, 24. And out of those 24 years, I goofed. I made mistakes with money for 16 years. Yani count like 2/3 of my time in employment, I messed up with money. I sort of made mistakes because I didn't know, because I didn't seek knowledge. I wasn't financially literate. So if you come here, I want to promise you that we shall continue to engage so that at least you can begin to be financially, literate. But and I keep saying that I had my Damascus moment when I hit 47, when I celebrated my 47th birthday. That is when I woke up and I realized how dark I was, in a dark space. Financially speaking, I was like, my finances were completely, I was in a funny place. And I keep saying that if I had lost my job at that time when I turned 47, and I turned 47 in September of 2020, at the height of COVID, I guess, my life would have been completely different. I don't know what I would have done. However, I was able to actually come back to my senses. I was able to seek help. I sought the support of coaches. I had a number of coaches to sort of help me to shape my life. And within 3 years, I was able to actually say, okay, now I think I am somewhere. And so the reason I do what I do is because when I remember my days, when I sit back and I remember my 47th birthday and how things were for me, I actually feel, obligated to actually share both my story, but also share my own experiences, share what I have learned. I just celebrated my 50th birthday this year on September 20th. And so I am, and when I say this year, because if somebody watches this video many years later, 50th birthday was celebrated on 20th September 2023. Okay, so you are hearing from a woman in her 50s. And therefore, for me who is in my 50s, I have accumulated wisdom that I can share with you, and hopefully you are able to pick certain nuggets that you can use in your own life. Now, I was fortunate enough to actually own a home when I was very young, at the age of 27, and so I thought home ownership is seen as a very high goal for some. In fact, some people probably think that it is not even possible to own a home. So I decided, let me do this series. So we've been having a series where we've been talking about the importance of owning a home, giving you the possibility and telling you that indeed it is possible to have a home. That was video number 2. Video number 3, we were looking at how can you own a home using the route of a SACCO loan, using a SACCO loan. And number 4, we were talking about what happens during your loan repayment season. Last week on Friday, we were talking about we were talking about covering your nakedness, and now today we are talking about like the final push, and we are done. The final push, and we are done. Because when we start a journey, we want to see it up to the end, to its completion, and then we are done, and we can celebrate, and at least have the opportunity to have a breather, and take a cup of tea, because during the season when we are doing our own repayment and everything, we are on a run. Anyway, so what does that, when we talk about the final push and we are done, what are we talking about? Now, that if you go to, I think, video number 3, or is it video number 3, where we said that you can own a home using a SACCO, and there are 2 ways where you can either decide to buy the plot, repay, and then take the home construction loan, or take everything together, buy the plot and do the construction. And I sort of said, if that is the route that you favor, then of course it's up to you, depending of course on where you are, your finances, your level of income, and everything that you have to do your mathematics. Anyway, the Bible says that you do not want to build a tower that then and you don't complete it, and then people will come and start laughing at you. Now the point is, so let's assume that you decided to take the route, and whichever route that you take, in most cases, many times you will find that you have taken a loan, yes, but maybe you haven't completed the house. You made it habitable, so you are able to enter because you stopped paying rent. And by the way, when you stop paying rent, that amount with which you stopped paying rent, that is what we are also sort of topping up to direct to loan repayment. So let's assume you are now, you are continuing to pay your loan repayment. Last week we talked about covering your nakedness. I believe that if you followed the tips that I shared there, you probably have looked at the possibilities of earning a higher income, or reducing your expenses to release some money. And when we release that money, we said we will direct that money to build it, to sort of covering our nakedness, or accelerating their own repayment. So I am assuming that you have done that. So you have been able to take the goal of covering your nakedness. So now you are no longer naked. You have an emergency fund of 6 to 12 months worth of your monthly expenses. Now, because we have finished and ticked off that goal of covering our nakedness, the question is, we still have a home that is incomplete, of course. So now we want to have the final push so that we can finish, and we say we are done with that goal. Now, what do you do? Now, with this extra money, assuming you have finished the goal of building your emergency fund, now that is completed. So you still have this extra money. And anyway, it's not like you're stagnant. You're still growing in your career. Maybe you have changed jobs. Maybe you're earning more money, blah, blah, blah. So the point is, now this is the time to actually say, okay, with this extra money, how do I complete? How do I now finish the home? And you can be able to say, you can have 2 ways. One, you can say, depending of course on the amount, if it is amount that is reasonable, you might say, I want to continue to build up saving, and then I can do my completion in phases. That's one route. Or you might say, I want to take a top-up loan from the SACCO, a top-up but I am going to make sure that this top-up that I have taken runs concurrently with the home construction loan that I am still paying. Now, if you go for the route of the top-up, you might decide that you do not want to really burden yourself. So you might take a top-up that allows you to repay that loan maybe within the top-up loan, maybe within a year, for example, which therefore means that if you, so that you can face it out, you can face and say, I am going to start off with, if you are like me, you entered the house without the walls plastered and no floor, then you might say, I am going to do phase 1 of plastering the house. So I will plaster, and so maybe you do the math and see, okay, how much will it cost me to do the plastering? I am going to either save for that or take a top-up loan for that phase, and it could, you may combine that together with the together maybe with the painting. So you now look at what are the different things that are remaining, and how can you phase them out, so that by the time you're finishing your home repair, your home construction loan, you have also been able to plan very well. If it is your top ups, you have been able to, and remember, you're paying your top ups with your extra money that you're paying, and you already have covered your nakedness. So we are still working on our financial security foundation. Foundation. So we are doing well so far. So you now are able to then now sort of do the phased completion, so that then you're also not really burdening yourself by taking another huge road just because you really want to finish everything all at once. There is nothing wrong with doing a phased process. You can do a phased process, and that's what I did, and I think it worked for me. It probably will work for you. But again, if you want to take another huge loan to come and finish maramoja, it's up to you. You have to actually see what those mathematics look like. By the way, I want to encourage you. If you in home ownership, for people who are doing home ownership, kuna vitu zingine, there are certain things that you will ignore. By the way, there are many things that you will ignore, and there are many sacrifices that you will have to contend with. One of the sacrifices that I had to contend with, anyway, I don't even know whether it was a sacrifice I was contending with, because even where I had come from, anyway, that's what we were doing. We used to use the washroom outside, because it's latrine outside. Because by the time you're entering this shell that has no plaster, obviously you don't have your washrooms, your bathroom facilities are not inside, they are somewhere outside. So you have to contend with carrying a basin to the bathroom outside. You have to contend with going outside. So there are certain things that you may have to contend with, but they are temporary and they are seasonal. And as long as you know that they are seasonal, and you then are comfortable knowing that I am on a journey, I am on a plan. Remember, we said that we are looking at a possibility of saying that we want to complete our home construction, our home everything within maybe 5 to 7 years. If we extend Sana, maybe 10 years, and 10 years is really a long shot, but maybe 5 to 7 years, we are done with that goal, and we have completed everything that we need to complete in as far as that goal is concerned. So please do not feel like, oh my goodness, will they laugh at me? Any of your friends who you think will laugh at you, it's time to say, this one is not good for me. We are not working together, because this one doesn't think that I am doing. I mean, you have to encourage yourself, and remember, financial planning and financial security, financial freedom. It is your journey. It is not a collective journey of everybody and your circle of friends. Because there are a circle of friends who will come and tell you, oh, you are living very far. Oh, how can you live in a house that has no walls, has no plaster? Oh, your house is not tiled. Oh, sijui, it does not. By the way, for me, that time, we even didn't have power. By the way, we didn't have sitima power. We didn't have power. Did it prevent me from having power? Now I'm even recording videos in my own home. Now, so the point is, you will have to contend with certain sacrifices, so that you can now go through the process of finishing and that home run and complete and finish. So contending with that is important. Sacrifice, it's okay. By the way, postponing gratification is a wealth building strategy. It is a wealth building strategy, make no mistake. Talk to people who have made it, talk to people who have made wealth, talk to people who have built wealth, and they will tell you that there is something called postponing gratification. There is something called sacrificing. There is something called waiting. There is something called working around, sacrificing and denying yourself a little bit of pleasure, and denying yourself of a little bit of comfort, so that you can meet the goal. So don't worry about having to go to the washroom outside. Don't worry about having to go to the bathroom outside. I did that for a few years before I could complete. For me, I finished my home ownership goal, including paying the loan, including finishing everything. I did it within the first 5 years of my employment. And so I am hoping that for people who are who are in employment, you can take this as a goal and you finish. So you tying that towel and going outside is not a big deal. By the way, you will not die. Imagine you will not die, and imagine a time will come when you will still, fix your showers, fix your your bathroom facilities within the house. A time will come when you will do the tiling of your house. So I was telling you, as when we came here, we didn't have water. There was no water. You know what we used to rely on? Donkey. Donkey come, bring the water. I had to buy some drums so that now the donkey comes, I put them a drums, and we used to sweep. So I used to call it kumijamija. You mijamija the water, you sweep like you do it in our country, and you're done. And in fact, if you are a little bit advanced, you can put that paper carpet. Alafu sasa you will be, you will be mopping. You will be feeling like you are mopping simiti. The thing is, it's really about knowing. It's really about knowing that you are on a goal. Okay, you are on a goal. So we didn't have water. We didn't have electricity. I remember even we used to have that black and white TV. It's inaitwa nini, Great Wall. Sasa hiyo Great Wall tulikuwa tunabeba battery, tunaenda inachajiwa, inakuja inakaa 4 days, alafu inaisha, tunaenda tunacharge tena. Some comforts they will have to sort of be minimized, but at the end of the day, you are focused because you are on a particular goal, and once you're done, by the way, that comfort will come. You will get everything. You will bring your house to the level where you need to bring it. But remember, what we are saying is that you are calculating and making the calculations and saying that I want to be able to finish this home ownership goal by this time. So if you're taking any top ups, or you're doing any savings, you have a cutoff time when you want to say this home ownership goal I am completing, including the loan repayment, by this time. So as you continue to pay the main loan for the home repayment, because remember we are still on the journey of the SACCO, you are taking this other short facility. Remember, we already covered our nakedness. You're taking those short top ups, you do faces, you finish the plastering, you finish the floor, you finish the painting, you now do the fixing, all the fixing that needs to be done, everything that needs to be done. And before you know it, by the time you're finishing your main loan, you have also completed, and we are done, as in we have done the final steps and we are done with our home ownership goal. And by the time we are getting to this stage, my friends, we have hit two things. Number one, we have completed our loan, so it's done. We have completed our home, so it's done. Number two, we have covered our nakedness, because remember in the last video we talked about covering our nakedness. We have covered our nakedness. So by the time we are finishing, we have two financial security foundational principles or things that we have done and we have finished. Home ownership, done. Number two, and I talked about the importance of home ownership. So if you're still struggling and wondering why you should, go to video number 1 and you will see. And number 2, we have covered our nakedness. We already have now a 6 to 12 months emergency fund set up, and it's there and it's working, and it's probably in a money market fund. It's growing and it's there. And so we are now ready to now begin to now focus on other things that are going to help us setting up our possibilities for financial future. The reason I do what I do is because I keep reminding you that employment is not permanent. And if you go back to my video and I talked about the importance of owning a home, you will understand why home ownership is so important. By the way, whether you're in business or in employment, it's an important goal. It's an important financial security foundational goal. And I said, look, context, my friend, context. Don't idealize. Don't theorize. Be practical. Me, I told you I am practical and I like being practical. Now, please stay here with me, because we will continue to learn more. I'll continue to share more based on what I know. And my aim is that you organize your life and you organize yourself and you avoid the mistakes that I did. Please go back. There are videos where I have talked about how financial scammers. I was a victim of financial scammers, but by the grace of God, I came out. I was able to actually move on and be able to organize my life. So I really hope that you will do that. So until next Friday, good people, I want to wish you a lovely, and to remind you, like, subscribe, comment, share, and remember we also have the Bible study on Wednesdays. When you land on this channel, there is a lot for you to hear. And me, I speak very practical things. Me, I don't talk textbook things. No, me, I talk practical things. because I want you to implement, and because I am a coach. Please go, and now that you, please go somewhere, listen to all those videos, the 6 part. Okay, listen to financial freedom videos, the 3 of them. Okay, listen to all of them. But for this home ownership, now sit down and ask, what did that lady, what did Lucy say? What did she say? Take your notes. What am I concluding? And then take action. I really hope that out of this series, out of this 6 part series, I have inspired a number of you to actually decide that home ownership is a goal that you want to pursue, because employment is not permanent. Please remember that. See you on Friday, and all the very best. Asante.